Good morning, everyone. Gonna get started in just a second here. Let a couple people get into the room. Hope you had an excellent weekend and are ready to get back to business. I know I am. We're gonna be using the chat here on YouTube. If you're someone from the Wolfpack, that's where we'll be asking all questions this morning, so I don't have to bounce back and forth between the chats. Mm. One second, my friends. All right. Let's go, let's go, let's go. So we've got... Let's get into the scan. Actually, first, let's start with SPY. All right, we've got SPY gapping down slightly this morning. 444.85 at the moment. Slight gap down on SPY and the Qs, I'd imagine, following suit. Slight gap down here as well on SPY for now. And the Qs. We'll kind of see what goes on here for the rest of this week. It's been a bull market. I mean, this year to start, at least. Starting October of last year, November, we did see that bottoming. It's been a really strong year. We've had some really great action across the markets. But the last few weeks, we have seen a little bit of fade off of those highs for the year. So shying away from all-time highs here if you look at what's going on. We'll see what happens. I'm not trying to predict what's going to happen here. We're either going to be pressing these highs or we're going to be kind of fading a little bit more. But interesting to see. Last week was a week of bankruptcy bounces, man. Bankruptcy bounces, bottom bouncers were somewhat the main story of the week. Let me get the chat up. Make sure. I got you guys. Let's get right into the scan, y'all. Not too many tickers, okay? Kind of a little bit slower towards the end of last week. Friday was okay. But usually on Monday mornings, and especially kind of after Friday was and Thursday was of last week, I like to let things shake quite a bit, especially Monday mornings, just to get a feel for the week. Today's definitely going to be no different for now. Let's go through some of these tickers together. If there are any tickers that y'all see that for some reason haven't come to my attention, let me know. Zine. What is this? They acquired or something? Earnings to acquire Harmony Biosciences to acquire Zenerba Pharmaceutical. Nothing there. No need to touch that. It will just stay at the same price all day. TSHA, 40 mil in the float, gapping from 75 cents or so, 70 cents region. This is our top percent gainer at the moment. It's also one of the top volume plays this morning. 20 million or so in dollar volume, 16 million in volume, 40 million share float. Their news, 10Q. 10Q also, they reported initial clinical data from the first adult Rett syndrome patient dose and reveal phase 1 of 2 trial and provided earnings. And a $150 million private placement. $122 million, and it's a pipe deal. 122 million shares of common stock at 90 cents. Pre-funded warrants, 89 cents. So they've got a private placement, they've got clinical data, and they've got a 10Q here. And obviously the reaction is positive for now. Get into the daily charts, the next step after this for me. Just a really beaten down chart. Has only traded volume once. Got to always be looking at volume. And I only see one day where it's traded volume a few days. Back in late October 2022. They did gap. Looks like they did a gap and crap to 220, pulled to 10 cents or so, ripped to 3, and then gapped down the next day to 250, and then gapped down again on day 3. So that's what happened the first time these guys ran back in October. I see a gap down here from February, and this is in terms of pre-market process for me. And whenever I'm going through daily charts in particular, that's all I'm really looking for. Big volume days, gap down days. They'll kind of give me a story. Looks like probably an offering here from $1.50 down to $1.20 on this gap down day for no reason. I bet you they did an offering here when they gapped down after day 2 as well. They may have just broken down, but either way, let's hit the old DT. For those who haven't been with me, this is Dilution Tracker. I use it every day. It's cut down the fundamental process for me in a big, major way. So you can see here, we've got TSHA Gene Therapies, 48 mil in the float. High risk, high offering ability. Shelf historically is medium. Cash need is also high. So I know that they are going to be diluting. Interesting. They're saying, yeah. So because it's a pipe, and because they're doing basically private financing. They're saying to ignore this dilution rating, which is kind of interesting. This is they've got 186 mil ATM as well. Here are the pipe warrants that are not registered yet, or will probably never be registered because they're a pipe. ATM is not limited by baby shelf, so they do still have an ATM and a fat shelf. Really nice push. Gapping quite a bit big for my liking. This is the kind of thing where I have to get in on a pool if I'm going to play. So gap and crap reversal has been in play, y'all. Last week they were pretty damn decent. 5-10 minute morning reversals off of some sort of base once they have, and they haven't even based really, actually. They've just been hitting levels and then pushing. They've been pushing back to VWAP. If they've been under VWAP, they've been pushing to high a day, pre-market highs, and then still getting slapped back to lows. So they are in play. Let me get to TSHA. I'd watch for maybe kind of a pullback towards this VWAP area, 120 area, kind of the support in this consolidation area. We might see like a $1.40 hold this morning if it's going to get a push. That's not really my favorite pattern setting up into the market open, just the way it's already pushing so hard into market open. So we'll kind of see how this one shakes out. I'll put it on the back burner for now. We've got AGBA, floats 8.2 mil. Sorry, let me get the chat up one more time for y'all. Make sure I'm keeping an eye on it. AGBA 8K, AGBA 10Q. Earnings. Not a fan of earnings winners in small cap most of the time. Most of the time. It is earnings season right now. But I find that, you know, unless they're like spectacular earnings for some reason, or, you know, a more established company that has earnings, they just don't go together. Small cap and earnings are, you know, they just don't go together. So it's not to say that stocks cannot move on earnings, because they can. Absolutely. But small cap moves are usually kind of muted compared to your big cap, mid cap earnings winners. Okay. And that's because they have shitty earnings most of the time. And if they're beating earnings, it just means they're losing a little bit less right now. Yeah, I don't see anything in their earnings that would get me really excited for something like that. Maybe a buck hold and a single would be my only idea on AGBA. It's like 98, 99 cents a buck holds, and possibly a single there. But it wouldn't be my top choice. One of the lowest floats out there today. We got TMC, the metals company. Not quite sure what they're doing here. Buck to $1.65, pull back to $1.30. Float's big as hell, 160 millish, 157 million. Also earnings. And also a $27 million registered direct offering at $2 per share for some reason. So an offering, earnings, not my favorite either here on TMC. Same idea on anything right now. Gap and crap reversal, either the early morning reversal and hit a single, or maybe a single off of morning fades. Been switching to the 5-minute time frame and looking for those kind of 10:30, 11 o'clock bottoms, and look for those pushes towards VWAP and then possibly through VWAP, stuff like that recently. Those have been the patterns that have been the most feasible and the most potential in terms of risk reward and stuff like that. So those are kind of the two patterns I've been watching recently. TMC, really ugly, super ugly daily chart. But recently went on a massive run. 70 cents to 320. $1.10 gapping up to $1.40. You know, on big, and so they have been trading volume recently on TMC. When they do trade volume, they trade in a 165 in like a 30-cent range on max volume, even 250, 210-ish, 40 cents here. I just wouldn't expect it to do more than that today in terms of the kind of range it trades. 160 million in the float, which is the reason why it doesn't trade heavily. It was probably lower here. I bet you they've been diluting. We'll check them out on dilution tracker before I make up my mind, but I don't like the fact that they've ran recently. Big volume, big ass float. I'll ignore it even if it goes X. Big ass float. That looks like an acquisition chart. Maybe not. United Steel rejects a $7.3 billion offer from rival Cleveland Cliffs. Huh. That's interesting, because yesterday proposes to acquire U.S. Steel, confirms receipt. U.S. Steel rejects it. Okay, so they got an offer yesterday and they rejected it. They did. They got an offer for acquisition on X. I'm going to ignore it. I don't play merger acquisition news. FRGT says the float is 2.8. Earnings, strong quarter 2 earnings with 29% revenue growth, which means they made like $29 instead of $1. Or, I'm sorry, $29 instead of... It's a little early for that math in my head. Okay. Leading freight matching platform powered by AI and machine learning, offers real-time portal, blah, 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 blah. That's what they do. Steady growth, achieving 29% increase. Previous quarter, 93% rise in margin compared to the same year-to-date period last year. Yeah, they probably fired anyone, and like I said, they made like $50. Okay, it says their float's low. Check out their daily. Already spiked to $1 and back down to where they came from pretty much. I'd still watch this first single and push back towards VWAP this morning, just based off the morning action, but let's get into the daily. They had a reverse split back in March, already pushed off of it. Pulled, little gap down here, probably an offering. Bigger volume day here, couldn't really get going. Pretty ugly stuff. Another split recently, another split kind of recently. So they've done a split each year and then sucked pretty damn bad. So in terms of hopes for this, not high hopes. It would be cool if it were to do something. But again, it's just earnings on a shitty company. So we'll see. This is not to say this one can't push. I will have eyes on FRGT. We are going to come back to the, we are going to hit it really quick on dilution tracker before we get going as well. GNS. What's Raj doing over there at GNS? What you doing, Raj? Is he fighting the naked shorts again? Is he trying to get his pump going? Because that pump was sick earlier. I made a lot of money on GNS. What is Raj doing? Any news for you, Roger? I don't see any news. Has he been pumping on YouTube or something? He must be. 6K. I don't see any news. Record date for spinoff. Entrepreneur Resorts. Some kind of spinoff coming on August 1st, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I mean, they got a little breakout going. They did 63 mil on this day. You can see got slapped back down to 50 cents. They did breakout already on Friday. Is kind of my issue, is that it's already a breakout. Only idea here would be another kind of pull. It is doing a lot of volume right now. So maybe another buck hold, something like that. Maybe green-red, maybe a green-red hold on something like this. Those would be my kind of two green-red kind of hold, which also coincides with the buck. So if we got like a buck hold, I'm sorry, buck 20. No real plans on GNS. We'll have to look into it. But it is a breakout continuation technically from Friday. NIR, somewhat recent IPO, gapping up to 65 cents finally. Maybe a first green day, but you can see this thing's tried to go green every single day and get slapped. So probably ignore that. Ape's up. I don't fuck with Ape or AMC or anything of that nature ever. It's just not what I do. I'll leave that to the apes and them to hold it and do whatever the fuck they want with that. ASNS, somewhat recent split, April 19th. Breakdown of lows on the chart. I don't see a PR. I see no PRs. Near Intelligence. I think they're AI play is what it is. Sorry, this is ASNS. Yes. Okay. U.S. Air Force selects ACTILs for IoT modernization of major Air Force base. That other one was for an IR. This is ASNS. Looks like a low float. Only got about 10 minutes. I got to get through these, y'all. Not really much else down there. That WeWork, I wouldn't be surprised to see this kind of go higher this week. It's just a huge float here, man. Huge float. So it can move 100%, but yeah, it takes like 800 million shares to get it there. You know what I mean? And all day. So maybe singles there. I'm probably going to ignore WeWork. You know, it bit me last week trying to dip by. Even though I was right, you know, we always talk about this. It's not about being right or wrong. It's about the timing as well and the execution of the trade. And I totally messed up the dip buy. So I was buying it like up in here instead of being patient. So we'll see if this 18 base can hold. I'll be kind of watching 18 to 20, but no concrete plans there for now. ELOX just popped on my scan. We know that these guys like to get pretty rowdy. They're gapping up this morning on ELOX. Floats 1.6. Earnings, not my favorite, but they also report drug response in all patients treated with phase 2 clinical study. This is one I definitely keep my eyes on this morning. ELOX. It already did some really low volume wacky nonsense, and it's super liquid, but when this thing gets any volume whatsoever, it likes to go. Like go. Like for reals go. So this is one I would certainly not ignore today because it does like to go. Do have some news. Just no volume for now, but I am going to have eyes on the ELOX for some sort of potential there. VSIG back on the scan this morning. They were one of the top percent gainers on Friday. Now they're gapping up again. Pretty freaking illiquid. I'll probably ignore it. Let's see. Outside of that, I've got... And then I'll kind of look at some of your questions and stuff. Sorry, I haven't been paying attention to y'all because I'm trying to get through everything I need to get through this morning. Got, okay. Now let's hit a few of the first green days I'll be looking for this week. First green day bounce pattern, all right? TUP's one that's been fading. I'll be watching them this week for a potential first green day. SNCE. SNCE is another. I'll be watching for a first green day push. BNTC. Another one. EVLO does look like a breakout. That's Tanner's. Nice. Kind of higher priced. Ion Q I'll kind of be watching this week. They pushed on earnings last week and then pulled. But pretty decent. And if they can hold up and the sector can hold up, I'll be watching QBTS again for potential first green day. They had one last week. So kind of keep eyes there as well. On a few of those. Let's get back to TSHA. Still holding up decently. Agba. Still holding up decently. Tom's. Okay. And so recently, yeah, third day surge has definitely been in play. Breakouts have been in play. Gap and crap reversals have been in play. Both the early morning ones and kind of the longer drawn out midday ones. And first green days after parabolic runs. So pretty great. Catherine, there's no day where the chaos usually begins, man. No matter what anyone says. I've seen August be hot. I've seen September be hot. I've seen September be stone cold. It's really not that predictable, honestly. And some of these summer months have been super hot, and some of them have been cold. So, we will get to questions. If you guys have any questions now, I'll be watching the questions much more closely. I do want to hit dilution tracker one more time. If we leak a little bit into the market open this morning, I don't mind. I don't want to rush myself off of the platform right now. So if we run a little bit longer, then we do. So be it. I got to hit all the tickers real fast. So TSHA, hit AGBA, medium. $20 months of cash, back warrants. Don't. AGBA is no concern. TMC, high risk. It says ATM with 27 mil, 36 mil in warrants. Public SPAC warrants 1150. They're still pretty far away. They do have an ATM that's not limited by baby shelf though. That being said, I don't give a shit because I'm not trading TMC just because it's got a big old float, so I don't care that much. FRGT's high risk, convertible note, convertible preferred shares, 15 non-registered warrants yet, 0, depleted. Convertible note with 1.7159 is the conversion price for FRGTs. Convertibles, 33. There's a lot of stuff here. A lot of it's higher price, but okay. What is Raj doing? Let's see. They do also have an F1 in progress, y'all. It's in progress. I haven't closed it yet. They haven't priced it, it looks like. Convertible notes, 517. And they're going to be having this deal. So know that they do have an offering coming at some point on GNS. Don't know when, but they do. AMRS is back up again. That's one of the bankruptcy bounces from last week. AMRS is back up. Bankruptcy bounce, man. You can see here's their BK news. Brought them down to 6 cents. And since then, they have bounced like 300%, y'all. You know, 200% off of lows. So I missed the lows. We'll see if they can get a little bit of continuation and get back towards 30 cents. You know, some of these 30-cent ones we'll see drop sub 10 and then bounce all the way back to 30 cents. I don't know if AMRS is going to be one of them. Their float seems a little too big for me for that to happen. 260 mil in the float. So on AMRS, I'll be very careful. You know, bounces like that, if you're like holding shares, people will be dumping into them, insiders and stuff like that, which probably not many in here. Check out the holders. All right, my friends. Well, market is open. Market is open. We'll give you guys a few minutes here, and then we are going to. I'll meet my pack. We will catch you guys in the Alpha Lounge for live trading webinar. As soon as we wrap up here, I'll catch you guys in the Wolfpack chat. For those who don't know what that is, it's my personal group. I've had it since 2018. I've got so many good members in there and good traders. And then I spend all day with them, every single day. If you want any information on it, you can go ahead and hit that QR code right there. There's a coupon code too. It's the best place to be in small cap, especially, in my opinion. Long. I don't think there's a better room. Okay. ELOX not doing anything yet. TSHA pull right out the gate. That VWAP area is in the 120s. TMC just straight morning spike. So the only move there is to buy a pullback, the first actual pullback. Agba, big drop out the gate. I wouldn't be surprised to see this reverse off of this area. 106, 105, 104. I'd watch that for gap and crap reversal. And single. That's the idea, y'all. Here's the idea, is that when you buy these areas, when I'm buying areas like this in the morning, which I prefer to buy as opposed to morning spikes. If this were to just spike through 126, for example, no thank you. The fact that it pulls, I like it. Starts to give me decent risk. More importantly, defined reward. So as it pulls back to 108, 107, if I can find the base, or if I see the turn, especially, I can grab shares with 2-3 cents risk and get 10, 15 cents reward just to VWAP or just back towards high a day. In this case, high a day pre-market highs are the same level, $1.20 then $1.26. So the idea then becomes, for once it gets back to those levels, I sell. And I get great risk reward there. And then in a great market or in a really ideal scenario, this then continues to break through pre-market highs and I just size out into the levels. That's how I like to trade. What's going on with LV? Kind of a liquid. FRGT. Little pull, little hold for now. TMC, really nice little morning spike. There's that first little pull. But it is just a little pull. WeWork, just straight morning spike this morning. For now. Nice push. Bankruptcy bounce there too, y'all. Bankruptcy bounces. AMRS. Tried to push a little bit. Again, huge float there. Ooh, Soundhound's back. They'll probably report earnings soon. And AI, I'm interested to see if it's going to hold these levels for a potential swing. Lots going to be market dependent, y'all, on the AI sector. So you got to keep eyes kind of on the overall markets too. I want to trade something, but I always like letting things shake 5-10 minutes minimum. On Mondays in particular. Wouldn't be surprised to see WeWork do something wacky. But again, big float. Let's see what Raj is doing. What you doing over there, Raj? If you don't know why I'm saying Raj, it's Roger Hamilton is the CEO, and he was pumping this thing so hard and trying to battle the naked shorts earlier this year. Or late last year, whenever it was. It was amusing. FRGT. You know, at these levels, probably a few more cents of downside, if anything, before a push. Some sort of bounce, at least. And it's funny because early on in my trading, and I'll probably still ignore this for now, but early on in my trading, I would completely ignore the weak stocks in the morning. The weak looking stocks, and I'd be chasing shit. Whatever's going through high a day, y'all. This one doesn't look like much, but I have a feeling it will. You'll see some sort of volume pour into that one today at some point. ELOX. And then for me, I'd try to set some kind of reasonable target. Obviously, 680 is where it topped out pre-market, right in this area. That would be the most reasonable kind of area. But we've also seen it just get going, especially off earnings. Wow. Totally underestimated TMC. Really good move. Really good volume. But this is literally where I'd be buying right now. This is like, this would have been my MO. I wouldn't have been buying a stock until TMC just broke through high day. And I would have bought it literally at like 171. And literally right now, I would probably be stopping out. Those of you who are new with me, obviously the people who get to trade with me every single day know this already. And this doesn't happen to them anymore. But this is what used to happen to me when I started. And it happened for a long time. Higher day breaks, breakouts, stuff like that. Those entries. It's not that this can't continue. They're just pretty emotional levels where they're going to get shorted a lot, especially if that breakout of high day fails. They're going to be re-shorted by shorts. Shorts, like a lot of them will come in with more conviction. So that's the idea behind that being the worst fucking entry possible that you can play. And the only entry that noobs look for the most part, when you guys are looking at charts and you're new, it's like, yeah, it's going up, it's breaking out, it's going to keep going higher. That's where you buy it. Nah. And if you stay there, you stay living there the rest of your long career, you won't have one for forever. You know, you won't, it's not sustainable. It's not fun. How can you be psychologically fit there? Where are you risking? Well, the only real logical risk when I'm looking at a chart like this and it breaks through that high is like maybe $1.50 or something. So you're putting yourself at too much risk if you want to stay in the move. Okay, that's the whole thing. If there's that balance of staying in a move and being stopped out. So that's why I would much rather get my position established early in the morning and then take profits into those levels where all the noobs are buying are all the areas where I'm selling. I hope that makes sense to y'all. Anyways, TMC I'll ignore. VSIG halted. Nice. Nice day 2 for VSIG. What's up with TSHA? TSHA pulled. They did a gap and crap reversal back to high a day, and they pulled all the way back to low a day. This is exactly what I'm talking about. You sell into highs, y'all. You just sell into highs. If you can always be selling into highs, you're going to end up with such better entries. It's not even funny. Hopefully, it's going to lead you to better entries if you're trying to find good risk reward. It's naturally, for me, when I look at every single pre-market chart and I look at the levels, I say pre-market highs, I need to sell there. And then when I get this candle in the morning, the high is 158. I say I need to sell into that, right? 158, yeah. I have to sell into that as well. So where am I going to enter? I need to get good risk reward where I'm going to enter. The more the pool, the more the range to get back to those levels. And noobs aren't even looking at it until it gets back to those levels. They start buying it, provides liquidity and potential squeeze in those areas, right? So there's your first single. It's also basing. It's not to say that this can't now continue forward, but it is to say this is that early morning pattern. If it does it again, that's great. It can double bottom here, base here, push again. We can sell into these levels again and then hopefully get a squeeze towards pre-market highs and sell into those levels. So that would be the idea there. I'm not going to play TSHA either for now. TSHA back to highs. FRGT's doing a full reversal here. Full gap and crap reversal. I should have taken a few FRGTs. There's your reversal in FRGT. Not as much range to work with, but I'd still work with this range, man. 72 cents, high a day. You get a little base at 65 cents. You get that little break of low a day that holds. You can get a penny risk there, man. Half a penny risk. And then every single penny upwards, you're getting that risk reward. That's how I like to look at it. So I can still get 1 to 5, 1 to 6 on a 77-cent stock, 60-cent stock. And it becomes more important that that entry becomes a little bit tighter in those situations for me. There's your full reversal on TSHA, okay? And everyone's going to be buying it here, and that's fine, you know, but the buy for me is always off lows. I should have snagged a few shares maybe. FRGT also reversed. So y'all, you know, this tells me, because now I've been seeing it last week, I've been seeing it this morning, gap and crap reversals back, which is the best fucking pattern possible in my opinion. For morning plays long NASDAQs, there's nothing better than when they're in play. You can get the best risk reward possible. The idea is first target is going to be high of day or VWAP, whichever is first. Second target for me is generally speaking VWAP at this point. Third target is generally speaking going to be pre-market highs. So you can see I can work risk reward off of that, you know. But what I like to do, y'all, is work my risk reward off of the single, which this is the single to me, the 65 to 72. Okay, if I can get good risk reward on 72, well, imagine the risk reward I get to VWAP. Imagine the risk reward I'm going to get if it can get back to pre-market highs. Does that make sense? I hope it does. It's super important. If you can contextualize your trading like that, and then be disciplined, have trading plans, you're going to be in such a better spot than everyone else who just chases bullshit every day. No discipline, psychological mess. And the reason they are is because they're just trading areas that are psychologically difficult to trade as well. If you start watching these reversals in the morning, they're chill, man. You know, they're chill. The price is coming to you. There's a big, big difference, man. I'm building a small position in ELOX at the moment, ELOX, in the low 520s, mid 520s, hopefully. Really illiquid, really wide. The spread's wide, so it's not ideal. But this is how it always trades before it runs. Almost always. Kind of weird and illiquid. So I'm going to have small size for now. Is my first target for gap and crap reversal a 3 to 1 at high of day? No. And I was just trying to explain that to you. I get, yes, here to this. Yeah, 3 to 1 minimum to that high a day. To the first target that I get is 3 to 1 minimum to that target. Okay. No, Catherine. I don't buy above my targets. I hope that makes sense. I don't buy above my targets. I don't buy into any of those levels. Those are all targets I should have been long already. Facts. These are garbage stocks. Most of them go back down, you know, but they're also somewhat predictable. And people who are trading these are predictable. I know where people are buying it. I know where shorts are. I like to be. I want to be in harmony with all that. I want to sell to the noobs who don't make any money. They don't make any money because they buy where they fucking buy. So I need to sell where the 90% of people are buying stocks. It's so fucking important, y'all. Don't do what everyone else does. Don't do what you see everywhere. It's all sucks. It's not fun to trade. I've tried it. All my students have tried it. The reason that my students have success is because I get them away from doing what everyone else is doing and teaching. The breakouts and the high day breaks and the VWAP holds and the anything else that's above VWAP and strength. You know, not all the time. Don't get me wrong. Breakouts can work. You know, things can work well, but it's not easy to trade. So just because something breaks out and works doesn't mean that it was really tradable. Here's a perfect example of a FRGT. If you're greedy, you don't sell into high a day and you don't sell into VWAP, it goes back to low a day and you were sitting here up 10, 15, 20% and now you're like, fuck, okay? And now you're all psychologically messed up. So what I teach my students, and this is why I'm going to sit here with you guys a little bit longer, because I do want those of you who aren't with me every day to get a taste of actual price action in real time. It's really important to understand this concept. My students, the ones that are really taking off right now, and I've got a lot of them who are doing really, really well, making a lot of money and changing their lives, they're doing it through hard work, but they're also doing it through flipping the script, man. Flipping the script, finding excellent risk reward, then being disciplined, taking profits into levels, not buying impulsively through levels or at levels that they shouldn't be, you know, as opposed to chasing. We're trying to maximize the risk reward on a daily basis, especially trading nonsense like this to the long side. I hope that makes sense. I really hope it makes sense to you guys, because it'll change the game for you forever, and honestly could change your fucking life, you know. There will be times, you know, and you'll remember some of these. I remember all the ones like where you're buying this 166 here and it's like great, you know, but right now it's halted at 177. So but like this entry, y'all, these breakout entries, they suck, man. High day break entries, they suck. Not all the time. Okay, like I said, not all the time. But in general, when I'm getting these entries, I'm selling into those levels. It doesn't matter. And the beautiful part is that in better markets, it only works better. In better markets, the only adjustment I make when I'm playing gap and crowd reversal is I size out less. I end up with more shares and size out less in a high day. So if I have 10,000 shares, instead of taking 10,000 off in a high day, like I would in a weak market, This right here, if you look at this part of the pattern on TSHA, in a weak market, that's the end, okay? That's the end, and then you get lows. In stronger markets, man, we get that. We get the push to high day. We get the push to pre-market highs. And then who knows? See, a point like this on TSHA, I go to the daily and start looking at levels and say, all right, well, where shorts get aggressive? 250 probably. They'll hit 250, natural levels, 3, right? So that's what I have to start looking at once we get beyond a breakout. ELOX, still a liquid. I did fill some 530 shares. I got 2,500. They already started to push a little bit. This is generally what they do. And this could get slapped super hard. So I'm not going to be sizing up on this personally. But if it works, I don't need that much size. So that's kind of the cool thing on something like ELOX. Risk for me is going to be kind of low a day, basically. Just sub 5 would be the idea. I'm looking for pre-market highs area. I'm looking for kind of 7, and then who knows, because this thing does like to rip-ski, especially post earnings. Earnings rip, earnings rip. There was probably some earnings news here or something, but that's kind of the idea there. Kind of predictable. I'm only playing it, even though it's a little bit of liquid here, because I know how this thing moves, and it always starts really illiquidly. And that's also why I have small size. I got to keep that in mind. VSIG. A few more minutes, and we got to check out. I got to get back to my people in the chat in my Discord. How y'all doing in Discord? Anyone hit anything? Some really decent reversals this morning. VSIG unhalted at 470 and then just smacked to 4. Here's another thing. Like, here's another example where noobs are like gonna just play the unhalt, man. I don't like playing unhalts. To me, they're pretty much like market opens. Every time there's an unhalt, it's basically a market open, you know? So Hey, any questions, y'all? Any questions, anyone who's tuning in before I check out and just get to my people in the pack? We'll give it another 5 minutes. If anyone has questions, I want to answer a few questions for you guys at home on YouTube, and then we'll go from there. And then I'll meet the rest of you in Discord. No problem, Xavier. Yeah, you know, the pre-market preps are just short, man. It's kind of hard for me to actually teach you guys anything in that period of time or get thoughts through. It's really important what I do pre-market, but let's take a quick gander at the old Q's green, SPY, trying to push green. And I want some of these AI plays for the second half of the year, or not the second half, but the last few months of the year. I have a feeling we're going to see Soundhound push again, AI push again, Ion Q push again. What's NVIDIA doing? NVIDIA, see, same charts. I'm pretty much using NVIDIA, the overall markets, as a guide for AI too at the moment, which kind of sucks, but specifically NVIDIA has been kind of the leader of the AI sector. And if you look, very similar charts. Alpha guide Wednesday. Sorry guys, I had some quite a few issues with that. Obviously, my dad's sickness, but then had some issues with the editor and said, screw you, I'm gonna finish editing it myself. So it won't be long. Wednesday, it should be completely out on Wednesday. And that guide, y'all, the live trading guide is going to be alive. Like, I'm going to be adding live trades to that. I'm going to be recording all the trades that I can and then adding them for the next 6 months or so to each strategy in that guide. Anytime I can get one, find it, record the trade, win or loss. I'm going to put them onto that guide. Basically, the last chapter. We'll have several different sections for each strategy where I will be literally just inserting live trades for you guys to learn from over time. All right. Would I consider GNS a gap and crap right now? Yeah, only issue is it already pushed through pre-market highs, you guys. It kind of kills the pattern for me, all right? Gap and crap reversal to me, it is, unless it spikes very slightly out the gate. Once it pulls and then spikes, especially through pre-market highs, if it's gone through high a day, pre-market highs, etc., then goes all the way back to low a day, generally speaking, not for me. Generally speaking. And then it's not just the morning pattern, you guys. It's not just intraday patterns, okay? You got to go back, go macro always, zoom out, and see what the overall pattern is, what the macro pattern is on the daily chart, right? So it's not just watch the morning action. You got to always zoom out, make sure that you're seeing what's going on. In this case, the breakout's at $1. When I see a breakout at $1, I don't like trading it at $1.50, especially a piece of shit like these guys. Not to say it can't reverse, obviously. In this case, when I'm looking at day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, gap and crap reversals, I start hitting like a 15-minute chart, something like that, to try to get some sort of semblance of trend, right? That kind of comes to mind there. So it's gone parabolic off the trend and gone through basically, obviously, $1, which has been this resistance support level. So this would be that red-green hold, it looks like, right? Green-red hold-ish. Still had a ways to go, 10 more cents or so. I'm not going to trade it personally. But pure gap and crap reversal pattern, no, that's not quite it. Once it goes through highs a day and stuff. TSHA's gap and crap reversal. Easy peasy. Straight up gap and crap reversal. First attempt. Shorts come in off high a day, by the way. They're always going to be hitting high a day. That's the idea why I sell into high a day. Shorts hit high a day, period, especially if it's an extended stock like this in the morning, right? On its third leg. Hold it down now. Stocks that gap from 60, 70%, when they spike 10, 20, 30 cents, they get halted. It's not fun to me. 180 to 157 there. I don't play unhalts. It's for gamblers, man. In my opinion, I don't have any edge there. Most of the time. I'm not saying 100% of the time. There are times when I am playing unhalts, but you guys see, I don't even like trading the market open that much. Like the first 5 minutes, I mean. You know, it takes 5 or 10 minutes for me to see. I have to see action. I have to see prints. I have to see volume. I have to see where the volume's going. I got to see which direction they're going to start taking it this morning. I need all of that. Okay? Do I ever look to short gap and crap reversal? No. Not right now. In the future, I will. If you guys are enjoying this, please hit the like button. Please subscribe. Please hit that bell notification, and I'm going to try to come live more often for y'all. I've got something special coming up later this week. Haven't announced it yet, but we're going to come live on YouTube one more time. We'll probably do, excuse me, one more session like this, but I got some buddies joining me. A bunch of millionaire traders. Will be like 5 of them. Three. We'll see. But I got a special thing coming up here on YouTube coming either Wednesday or Thursday morning. So if you're not, make sure you're subscribed and hit the bell notification so you don't miss it. Make sure to smash that like for me. And we'll do this more, you know? Yo, guys enjoying it this morning? Let me know. Few more minutes and we're gonna jam, man. I gotta get back to my people. We got one-on-ones today from 11 to 1 my time, 12 to 2 Eastern. So if you're one of those people, please DM me now so I'm prepared for your one-on-one session. HRYU, halt up. Can't really trade it, unfortunately. Recent IPO. Dang, nice press on Soundhound. You can see I've been watching these guys all year, obviously. Made some good money. Had a few decent losses on them just from some swings. But overall, good ticker for me this year, Soundhound. Just very dilutive. Thanks, Ronaldo, man. I'm glad, man. I'm glad. That's why, I mean, there's so much stuff out there now, and it's all good. You know, it's all the basic stuff, especially. You know, anyone can learn basic stuff, and the basic technical analysis and fundamental analysis is not that difficult to learn. But everyone, at least to the long side, I've seen no one who's been able to teach at least small cap that well. So I just want to get that voice out for you guys a little bit more if I can. And hope you enjoy it, you know, and get something from it. You know, if this like live session right now puts any of you guys on a different trajectory, then I've done my job today. You know, gets you away from just chasing shit, buying breakouts and chasing strength, then I've done my job today. And I swear it can put you on such a different trajectory. And sometimes that's all you guys need. I talk to you guys one-on-one Monday through Friday, essentially, to my students. And I've been doing these 30, 40-minute sessions with the guys and gals. And I've been learning so much about what you guys struggle with. And it's not that complicated. You know, a lot of you guys who I get new for the first time, it's like I got to unfuck you of all the strategies and like ideas that are in your head of what's good and all your impulsive trading and stuff. But then watching these people go from like emotional wrecks, psychological disasters, P&Ls leaking like a sieve, you know, to like solid plans, solid traders, with good ideas of risk reward, dip buying, key levels, like selling into high day and VWAP and where all the other fuckers are selling. It makes me so happy. You have no clue, because that's the change that I got to experience for myself. And now I'm trying to help transmit that to other people. And I've finally, after like 6-7 years of teaching, I've found that those skills for myself have been improving, and I'm able to translate, and I'm able to work with people with all sorts of problems, because I've been in all sorts of their positions, either in life or in trading. You know what I mean? So all of these experiences have finally added up, and my group I couldn't be happier with what's going on in the wolf pack right now. It's a really, really special thing happening that I've not seen. And it's been a good market this year, no doubt, but it's not been an easy market. It's not been easy, in my opinion. And I see some of these cats in the pack, like, beating me to my own trades, getting better risk reward than me, taking profits better than me, and it makes me very, very happy, genuinely. I dig it. I'm like addicted to it at this point, seeing these guys crushing, and gals, man. We got a lot of women joining the pack, which makes me even happier. Got the lady wolves. Would I still be watching ASNS to buy now and sell at $1.80? Good question. This is one of the earlier ones. Yeah, so here's another example of one. Okay, high a day, right? $1.64, right? ASNS. Low a day, $1.31. That is literally where I am going to frame risk reward from. All right. So when we're trading at 155 and high days 165, I look at this as 10 cents reward. And I look at this as 25 cents downside, or inverse risk reward, inverse good risk reward. It's not good risk reward. Does that make sense, y'all? I hope it does. By the time it gets here, and I used to try buying this too early on. When I finally realized that I can't wait for pre-market highs to break. Here's pre-market high. I can't wait for 220 because that doesn't work that well, and it doesn't happen all the time. All right, let's start working off high a day. So I would start buying like 164 here is high a day. So 165. And then I'm like, okay, that doesn't work. So then I started whittling away and getting to here, right? So instead of like 166, I'm like, fuck, let's buy it before it breaks out. So I'd start buying 153, 154, 155. Only problem is that this put me right into short territory. This is exactly where stocks get shorted. Okay. And by this point in my career, in my trading career, by the time I realized that I should be buying here instead of here, is when I bought Trading Tickers 1, Tim Grattani's first guide. And what I realized by buying here after watching Trader Tickers 1 is that that's even worse. Like, it's technically not worse than pre-market highs or high day breaks, but that is where it's definitely being shorted. You know what I mean? Into high day. That led me to lows, man. How fucking low, how further low on a chart do I have to go? And I didn't realize what the answer was for myself. This is not for everyone, man. I'm not saying everyone dip buy, everyone do it. I never say anyone should do anything. You have to do what's comfortable for you. I have friends, not that many of them. I don't have that many friends, but I have some trading friends who do well with trading strength. and momentum. I hate trading momentum. I want to position myself for momentum, if that makes sense. I want to consistently have great risk reward on singles. I want to live in that context. In this case, ASNS, that means I need a 135, 136, 137 entry with a 130 risk for me to make it worth it for me to trade this piece of shit, put my money into it for even 5 seconds. I need good risk reward, extreme risk reward. So like everyone online, they're like 1 to 2, 1 to 3 minimum, but that's for me not the case. You know, I would say, yeah, minimum, but a lot of people trade just 1 to 3. If it's 1 to 3, good trade. To me, that's not the case. I'm looking for 1 to 5, 1 to 7, 1 to 10 on the single. When it gets to here, when it gets to high of day, that's where I want 1 to 10, 1 to 5, 1 to 7 to make it even worth it for me 1 second to get it here. And then the beauty is that if it then gets to VWAP, I'm getting like 1 to 10, 1 to 12, 1 to 13 of VWAP. I'm getting 1 to 15, 1 to 20 pre-market highs, 1 to 50. Does that make sense? I really hope it does. And it's the beauty of trading to me. It is what makes it not gambling to me, that I get to control the situation to that extent. The problem is no one does, and y'all don't do it. And it's really, really hard to control it when you're buying through high a day, and when you're buying through VWAP, and when you're buying through pre-market highs on strong stocks before they pull. Does that make sense? My accuracy rate, 50, 60%. Sometimes it's really accurate. It depends. Ebbs and flows, man. It ebbs and flows of my trading, the markets, and everything. You know, I can't say, I can tell you there are certain weeks where I'm batting 70, 80% on them, 100%. And there are weeks where I go like 0 for 6, okay? 0 for 7. But the beauty of it is that 0 for 7 week, I'm taking minimum loss after minimum loss paper cuts. 1 cent a share loss, 5 cent a share loss, 3 cent a share loss. Just like that. And then the one that gets to high a day, gets to VWAP, gets to pre-market high, wipes out a whole week or 2 of losses, or a whole month of them, man. That's what you guys have to get through. It's especially the small cap long game. There's so much potential, man, in good markets. I mean, we've seen stocks, you know, like over the last month, 2 months, multi-day runners from like 30 cents to $5, $6, $7. Okay. Hundreds of thousands of percentages we'll see these stocks go at a time. To take advantage of that, because of the fact that they are all still garbage and most of them still get slapped. Extreme amounts of risk reward you can find. That's what, there's nothing better for a small account if you're going to be trading stocks. I think if you're trading in general personally, than just small cap. People shit on it, but that's out of ignorance. They're like, oh, small cap is a scam. Small cap is a scam. It's a fucking scam. No doubt about it. Okay. It's a fucking scam. You know, you go to FRGT, you look every year they become non-compliant because they fucking dilute so much. Okay. And this may not be FRGT's case, but almost every stock. Every year they go under a buck. Every year they do a split and then they pump and then they dilute again. Every year these companies stay alive. Here's a split, 215.22. Here's a split, 1029.20. Here's a split, I bet, right? It doesn't say it there, but that's probably split there too. So every year they go under a buck because they just dump on retail, on you and me. Okay? You're buying the breakout. These guys are fucking dumping on you. And this is what you have to understand. This is the other reason I don't buy breakouts. I don't really love buying breakouts, okay? They dump on you there, straight up. You're going to be dumped on. Breakouts, high day breaks. If I had 5 million shares to dump today on, let's say, TSHA. If I had like 5 million shares to dump today on TSHA, undoubtedly I would use the market open, because I know there's liquidity market open. You could dump there and then through high a day. So when it gets here, this push, you can dump. That's probably what you're seeing here too. I don't know if they're dumping, but I would do it. That's where I would dump, where you get the most liquidity, guys, right? Where's the most liquidity? First minute of the day. Look at this. Push towards high a day. Look at this. Push towards high a day. Look at the volume. Perk. Unhalt. Perfect situation. You get 2.5 million out the unhalt. You get 2.5 million out the unhalt. Boom. So if I had 5 million shares to dump on a ticker, that's what I would do. I wouldn't wait till it was at lows and then just fuck the stock, even though they can do that too. Liquidity. So fucking important. If you don't understand this, you need to. You need to start watching volume, understanding the dynamics, who's where, who's dumping where, how that affects supply and demand. Every single day, okay? That's how I like to think. Any more questions? How much risk do I typically take? I don't have typical risk. Okay? My risk is always changing. I can go down to risking $100 a trade. I can go all the way up to risking 5-10 grand on a trade if I want to. Generally speaking, 5's that sweet spot. That's kind of the max where I don't like losing more than 5 G's personally. It's something I need to work on, because if there's an opportunity to make 100, I can risk 10, but it's just not so much. I haven't gotten there yet. Okay. Rohan said, did I track gap and crap reversals initially in a spreadsheet? Nope. Just start trading them. Spreadsheets are great, y'all, but spreadsheets don't take into account everything. And just tracking a setup, if you know a setup's a setup, personally, this is just for me. Now, you can paper trade, whatever you want to do to be in control of a new setup. My MO has always been to size way down and trade it so I can get my feels for it, man. You can't, unless you're actually trading, watching it, trying to partake, it doesn't sink in the same. I'm not learning the pattern the same. And then I'm also not understanding and feeling the price action and trading the price action with it through different markets too. If y'all are tracking trades, that's great. If y'all are like back testing, that's great, I guess. I never found success in back testing these strategies because the markets are always changing. The patterns are always coming and going. So if you just take a set of like the last 100 gap and crap reversals, that's not taking into account how the markets were, which patterns were in and out of play at the time. Everything come in and out of play. So there are patterns that I know that I bet like 80% on, probability wise, that in today's market I wouldn't fucking trade at all. But then there may be some patterns that I have a much lower probability on, that's all I'm trading this week because that is what is in play. If I one of the big things for me over time has been finding the next play, finding the next one and the next one and the next one. In fact, that's my mantra on a daily basis. On to the next. Execute, create a plan, execute plan, on to the next. Over and over and over and over. Review. That's it. Review, change the plan so I can try to be as emotionless as possible, at least while I'm trading, right? I hope that makes sense to you guys. What else we got? TMC, back to lows. Again, high a day breaks are for suckers, man. Pre-market entries are for suckers. And that, there are times where this is going to work. It's going to go through 170. It's going to go to 180 and pull back to 170 and 165 and then hold and then push. There are a lot of times where that will happen too. But more often than not, when I'm watching small cap, this is it. This is the pattern where stay away. Just don't do that. If you don't buy pre-market highs, you're in a good position. That's very impulsive. It's very caveman, cavewoman type strategy, man. Ooh, fire hot. Fire's hot. It's like that. Up, green good, red bad. Nah, man. Red good. Red provide good risk reward. I don't know. That's my caveman. Sorry. It's not my best impression ever. But you get it. Don't be a caveman. Got to be a little bit savvy. Oh, nice. Still liquid, but getting a small break here of high a day on, I just took off 500 shares into this strength just to lock in a fifth of my ELOX there. You know, it'll be, it could just get slapped anytime. So that's why I just took a little bit off. Only locked in 270, but on 500 shares, and with 2,000 left, I'm okay with it. The idea of this trade is not to go crazy. But what that does do is minimize risk. When I do that, when I'm taking position profits into strength, high day breaks and stuff like that. So I had 2,500 shares. I took off 500 shares. I'm de-risking. I'm locking in 300. Okay, and I'm de-risking. If we get back to 490 now, I've only got 2,000 shares. It is 40 cents. But I've locked in $300 as well, if that makes sense. And this is not great. This is in a liquid, very, very as speculative a position as I ever take, essentially. Okay, based on a daily that can get rowdy. So, but the idea still rings true. You know, if I'm playing TSHA in the morning and I'm playing this reversal in the morning and I take off here, well, shit, I can sit through it, because if I get back to risk, I've already taken off half of my shares or something like that. Or I can add, you know, then I can play that game if I want. Take profits into strength, take profits into strength. And then when it gaps down here, all the way back to lows again, you've done your job. And then you can rebuy it again if you want, okay? But you keep locking. It's important to lock. We've gone way longer than I wanted to go today, by the way. Do I have live trading archives? Yeah, I've got like so many. I have several hard drives. That computer, this computer, one in there, full of live trades that need to be procured. If someone has thousands of hours and would like to go through my hard drives for me. Okay. Again, if you're just joining, or if you missed out, I'll get this, I'll make sure that this gets posted for you guys in a little bit. But please hit the like, make sure you subscribe. I think Wednesday or Thursday, I'm coming on with a bunch of buddies to do some cool stuff for you guys as well. So if you're enjoying it, please hit that like for me. All right. I think we're going to wrap up here in a second, and I'll catch my Wolfpack people in the Alpha Lounge. Ooh, Mr. French is there. Frenchy. That means price action lessons today, maybe, for y'all. Price action sessions with Mr. French. All right. All right, my friends, we are going to wrap this bad boy up. Thank you guys so much for joining me this morning. Good luck with your trading the rest of the day. If you enjoyed it, smash the like, hit the subscribe. We do this every single Monday morning. So make sure to join me. I also do this every single day for my Wolfpack. We actually do pre-market prep every day. And then I live trade like this every single morning until I'm done trading pretty much. And then we also do it in Power Hour. If Power Hour is lit. Then we do Power Hour prep as well. Trader Therapy Fridays, boot camps, free boot camps for the pack people. It is the #1, in my opinion, place to be for small cap right now, long. It's a really, really special culture growing. I'm spending a lot of time right now because I'm super energized, just one-on-one training these people. And for now, the group's still small enough that I'm not overwhelmed. You know, at some point, it is growing, and I'll probably have to cut back. So if anyone's on the fence, now is kind of the time. I don't think I'll be more efficient at teaching and trading and have more time for you guys than I do right now. So thank you guys so much for joining. Stay safe out there. Mind your risk.